Hey everyone. I have been challenged by a group of friends that we're doing a collaborative playlist with, to paint a project without a paintbrush. So for quite a while now, I've wanted to try the palette knife painting approach and just haven't had the time and maybe even the courage to try to use that technique. I'm fascinated with it. I am part of groups that show you how to do palette knife painting, and I love watching it. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, so I thought, I got this. I can do this. I usually use all kinds of different paintbrushes to paint projects, but this was a very cool challenge to kind of force me to do something that I've never done before. And so, in that process of being forced to do something that I've never been done before, I am sharing with you some very real and raw moments in this process. So I got out my professional grade paints. I love using the Master's Touch paints that you can get at Hobby Lobby. And little tip here, I always wait until they're 40% off and then go pick up what I need. So I got out my gray, my neutral gray, and I decided just to put an entire base of that on this small, I believe this little canvas is about a 6 by 6, and just put the gray down and thought I would begin layering in some titanium white and try to give it somewhat of a marbled effect. Now, I'm really wanting to try to paint a daffodil. I love florals. It's January right now. It's cold, it's been snowy, and I'm ready for spring. So I thought, I'm going to paint a daffodil. I got this. I'm an artist. I can do this. Doesn't matter if I'm not using a brush. I'm just going to use the palette knife, and I believe I can do this. So I start into the project pretty confident, liking how the gray and the white are layering together and kind of that marbled surface. So let's see what happens here in just a moment. Now I'm beginning to lay out the basic shape of my petals for my daffodil. Decide to make it a paper white version. I love daffodils. They're just so encouraging when spring really kind of begins peeking around the corner and you begin to see these beauties pop through the earth, and you know it's not going to be too many more days of that cold winter weather. And so I'm just kind of layering in some texture, thinking I want to kind of try to make these petals look like there's highs and lows and shadows and highlights, and all with just the palette knife. And then I begin to think, this is not as easy as I thought it might be. But I'm an artist. I've got this. I'm going to press on. I'm just going to keep on trying. And I want to add some texture, some things that might look like these petals are curled. But it just can't get it to my liking. Part of the problem is my mind. My mind is still wanting to paint like I have a paintbrush. My mind is wanting to convert the palette knife into my familiar paintbrush, but it's not quite going like I thought it would. So I thought, well, let's move on to the center. Maybe if I start layering in that center cone that's in the middle of the daffodil, maybe the petals will start to look like petals. You know, kind of add a little more texture. So I used just the very tip of the palette knife and begin to lay in the shape and lay in some texture and make the paint thicker in some places and kind of thin it out in other places. Okay, I'm okay with the general shape that I have. Hmm, wonder what will make this work. Not sure. Okay, maybe we'll bring in some gray to these petals. define some shadows, make it look like those petals are curling. Maybe that'll help the middle look a little bit better. Maybe it will help the petals look a little bit better. But I'm still trying to use my palette knife like a regular paintbrush that I'm more familiar with, that I can seem to work my magic with. No, it's not working with this. Oh my, what am I going to do? I know, let's add more white. There we go. We're going to layer in more titanium white on top of that gray, and that's going to give it some highlights. Highlights always seem to come to the rescue. It's going to make the shadows look deeper. It's going to make the high looks higher and brighter. That's going to work. Except it isn't. It still's not looking like the daffodil that I have in my mind. And I'm still trying to make my palette knife work like a paintbrush because that's what I know. Okay, I have an idea. I'm going to add a darker yellow, more of a gold-like color into the very center of what's supposed to be the cone of the daffodil, trying to um, indicate the depth of the cone, that there's a deeper section to my daffodil. That'll surely, surely bring this flower to life. Except it isn't. I know. I am going to put a stem on this flower. We're just going to bring in some green and kind of lay it in very gently and make that paint come together and bring that color on down. It's going to look like a stem. It's going to look like a stem. I don't think anything I say is going to make this look like a stem. It's just looking like a smeared streak of green. It's not looking like a stem. Whatever am I going to do? Oh my, if I just keep adding paint, maybe. I don't know. Okay, we're going to bring in some darker green and give some depth to this stem. I mean, that's what I do with a paintbrush. We add in some depth, that gives it some lift, and it's going to begin to come to life. Except it isn't. It's just looking like more smeared streaks of green. And if I'm not too careful, I'm covering up what I've already put on the project. I'm kind of running out of ideas. Okay, leaves. It needs leaves. So we're just going to take some of this excess paint that we have in the stem and we're just going to push it up and make it look like leaves are coming from the stem. Except the stem seems to be getting wider instead of more stem-like. This is a hot mess is what this is. This is never going to look like a daffodil. This is kind of turned into a big fiasco. For someone like me that likes that control of the paintbrush, that likes the details of what is being laid into a project, this is a real struggle for me. This is just not working out like I thought it would. Okay, since I really can't do anything more to make this look better, we'll just add a little distraction going around the outer parts of the flower. Maybe it'll look a little abstract. And we'll just put in some blue, like the sky, just give it a little bit of interest there. And maybe it will begin to look like a masterpiece. Let's see. We'll just keep kind of going with this dream all the way around our flower and see what we get. Well, this is not helping matters either. It's still looking like a hot mess, and I have a whole new appreciation for palette knife artists. And I think I am out of my wheelhouse, and I just need to probably go back and get with my brushes. I'll do a little bit better job. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and just know art's really about fun. Don't give up. Press on. Try something new.